This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live on this Travel Tuesday. Excited to be here with you. It was a great Mark Thompson show, loved it. Nikki Maduro show is fun as well, and we've got another great Nikki Maduro show lined up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson show at 11, we've got John Rothman, and also it's Belinda with It's the Planet Stupid, so it's going to be another really good show. And again, today is Travel Tuesday, and we will be going to, you got it, Costa Rica. We're going to look at the best beaches in Costa Rica. I also have the possibility of travel to Italy to see some of the most forgotten lakes. So we'll see how much time we have and whether we're able to do it. I want to tell you, so I've been working on the thank you video for the end of the show because I need to update it. A lot of people have contributed to the show. Find the PayPal link in the show description. A lot of people have been really generous and contributed to the show, and so I wanted to update it. So I tasked my 14-year-old daughter with doing the video. And so the writing and the bubbles, the bubble writing is all kind of very teenagery, but I think you guys are going to get a kick out of it. One thing she forgot to do is leave me room to put your goodbye messages for the day, which I really love to do. So after the video runs, then I'll post those over pictures from the show. So that'll be a little new today as we get that fixed, so I can put your messages over the video once again. Oh, all right. If you're here, please do me the favor of clicking the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that as well. As you know, I'm pushing my way toward 2,000 subscribers, so I'm really excited about it. The first story I have for you today is kind of reminiscent of RoboCop. I have this vision in my head where the drones come and they fly around and they're looking for things that aren't right or people committing crimes. And it's like we're living in this drone state. I like the idea of this, but I just can't get that sci-fi movie picture out of my head. This is the future, and it has to do with graffiti drones. Yes, graffiti drones flying around looking for graffiti covered areas. And then they have a modified nozzle that shoots out paint to cover up the vandalism that they've detected. The state of Washington is deploying a $30,000 drone to fight graffiti. Now, in some areas, there's just more graffiti than people can handle. It's how many days can you walk outside, repaint the side of a building or a fence or whatever it is over and over and over again? At some point, the persistent vandals will win because it's not worth it to go do it anymore, right? So maybe the graffiti drone will help this. The state of Washington getting ready $1 million anti-vandalism project. And as part of this project, the testing of this $30,000 drone that paints over graffiti. It's the Graffiti Abatement and Reduction Pilot Program. It kicks into effect in early June, and the field testing spray drone technology will be used along Interstate 5 between Tacoma and Seattle, and north, as well as North Spokane. That's where they're going to do this. This idea of a graffiti drone came from a maintenance crew member. While the crew member was painting over graffiti for the second time in a single week. The effort is difficult because sometimes the spots with graffiti are hard to reach. They're on freeway overpasses. They're high on buildings and whatnot. And so they have these under-bridge inspection trucks, but there's only 6 of them across the entire state of Washington. And so it can take a while. Once the graffiti is seen and reported, it takes a while to get one of these units out there. But the maintenance worker said if the drones can be used for inspections, well, then why couldn't they be used to spray the paint? So they looked on the internet. Is there such a thing as a graffiti drone? No. So they contacted the manufacturer, a drone manufacturer. It's called Aqualine. It's an all-American drone and cloud technology company is how they bill themselves. They do drone tech tasks like roof cleaning, window washing, even firefighting. And they think their drone, called the Spartacus Endure drone system, should do the trick. They're going to modify it to have a little paint burst, a pressurized nozzle handle paint, and they're going to make it happen. So, and they're going to start testing it in June. It's interesting. I mean, it could be a big deal. We might not have to see the graffiti posted all over the freeway overpasses. If every morning the drone comes out, spray paints the graffiti, I think they would need to spray paint the entire area. Otherwise, it's just going to look like big splats of paint. I don't know. The whole graffiti drone test, they have a mandate in the state of Washington. They have to write up a big report on it to let them know how they operate, how they apply paint, if they can cover the graffiti, if it actually works. So we'll look forward to the report to see how the graffiti drones held up and how they managed it. I don't know. It could be a big deal. Again, part of me likes the idea. Part of me is a little freaked out that the graffiti drones are the first in a drone police state. Maybe I'm just freaking out over nothing. I kind of expect this. Maybe in a state like Wisconsin. Waupaca County, Wisconsin. They had a loose bison on the freeway. That's not good. The Wisconsin Sheriff's Office, is warning residents to be on the lookout for this bison spotted on County Highway E, north of Ogdensburg. You don't see that every day. The sheriff's office said use caution when driving on the roadway in the area. If you see the bison, do not approach. They are unpredictable. They want you to contact the authorities. God, can you imagine in California if we saw a bison on the freeway? We do have bison in Golden Gate Park. We still have those? I think they're still there. But I don't know. Yeah, that's what they're dealing with in Wisconsin today. A bison on the freeway. Did you remember, speaking of animals, kind of animals, remember that dog robot? It's very strong and weirdly frightening. The dog robot. I thought it was weirdly frightening. I don't know. This dog robot was kind of yellow and black painted. Here it is on the right. Well, now they're trying to make it softer, friendlier by putting fur on it, fake fur, and a little dog face. Because it looks scary on the right. And I guess too scary. So they're making it cuter with a little furry makeover. And they've named him Sparkles. I don't know. I think your dog robot is still pretty freaky. They used to call it the bipedal atlas. And it's a 4-legged line of spot robots. There were a lot of comparisons to this Atlas robot and a dog. Maybe because of its stature, the way it, holds itself, 4 legs, whatever. But they now have a full cartoon version of this for their latest video showcase. They call it Sparkles. They say, like its fellow Boston Dynamics family, it's very capable of doing all of these things, these movement things. I have a video that I'd like to show you about this. I don't know. It's still scary. You can slap furry dog suit on it, and it's still the same kind of situation, isn't it? It is to me. Anyway, let me take the picture down so I can show you the video. Here it is. Yeah. And here's what it looks like moving. I mean, it's still the same kind of creepy thing happening. I'll take the song down so you can hear it. So yeah, I mean, it acts like a dog. And maybe it's just a little more friendly, more approachable. Doesn't look like it's going to shoot you in the face kind of situation. But the movement is the same. Yeah. It's just a little more personable, I guess, or something we're used to. They move really well, don't they? Yeah. They can dance, they can jump, and they can run really fast. The movement is really, really crazy, creepy crazy. So that's what they're doing over at Boston Dynamics. I don't know if making it softer or cuter means that it's, I don't know, it can do any less damage to you. I don't think so. No. It's an interesting idea though. They're not always programmed to dance, by the way. But they do have that kind of intricate movements, balance, precision. I don't know. They had a choreographer come and make them so they could do the dance and move. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think this has hit the market yet. I don't think it's on the market. But, well, I don't know. Speaking of robots, though, what about this? I mean, this could even be more creepy. This is Snailbots, and they work together, in the shape of snails, and they kind of combine together to swarm and form new structures. They use magnets, not slime, like snails, and they're a swarm of miniature snail-inspired robots that have retractable suction cups that work in tandem with these tank-like treads on the bottom you can see there to maneuver across difficult terrain and to roll over each other. It's interesting. It's another case of this biomimicry. Yeah. They say it's not uncommon to take a feature from an animal and see how you could apply that to the field of robotics. But this came from roboticists at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. And they looked to snails for their design cues. They posted findings on their development in Nature Communications, this journal. It's a troop of snailbots that can collaborate when an environment becomes too difficult for just a single explorer. Each has a rubber tread system that incorporates tiny magnets, above which the electronics, battery, microprocessor, and other components are located within they call it a bespoke metal helmet. When in free mode, the robots move across the surface like traditional tanks or bulldozers. But when they run into trouble, the team of Snailbots engages in strong mode. And thanks to the angle of each machine's magnetic tread chain, every Snailbot can scale a fellow swarm mate's metal shell. And once in place, a human controller then enables strong mode to deploy the top bot's vacuum suction cup onto the shell underneath it. They anchor them together, allowing a bot team to repeat as needed. The robots can pivot 360 degrees while the suction cup is adhered. They did trial runs with this thing. They say the machines were able to create staircases to clear ledges, construct bridges to cross gaps, kind of like army ants, and form a single elongated robot arm. It's an emphasis on a single robot's field mobility to ensure the overall system's flexibility and agility. They say the incorporation of a robust connection mechanism is pivotal, ensuring that when the robot swarm assembles into a unit, it attains heightened robustness. Is it creepy to you, or is it cool? I mean, there will be moments where something like this could be very useful when maybe exploring small spaces or, I don't know, doing a cave rescue. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm telling you guys, the future is closer than we think. From the future to the past. Yeah. This is a study about human sweat and stamina, and researchers say that actually made humans exceptional runners and hunters. The fact that we have sweat and stamina. They used to think, nah, this whole running long distances, that's just really just a hobby for people that like to run. But a study was done and published in the journal Nature Human Behavior, where researchers looked at more traditional hunting methods like foraging and other hunting methods. And they found a new hypothesis called the endurance pursuit hypothesis. The University of Canada and UC Davis involved in this study. They say people who frequently practice running know that when you do it on a regular basis, running becomes relatively easy. But from that, it's easy to envision how it could have conferred selective advantage in hunting. So the endurance pursuit hypothesis is that the human ability to run long distances is an adaptation that began 2 million years ago. That unlike other mammals, including primates like chimps, humans can sweat profusely and have lower limb muscles evolve for stamina rather than power. If economical and successful, endurance pursuits of medium to large game in a tropical environment could have been selected for that unique combination of traits, sweating and stamina. So that we've evolved to just have this ability to do this. And it's what made us successful hunters when we weren't foraging and hunter-gathering, right? A long time ago, some anthropologists thought that running long distances in pursuit of game would have been too much for the human body. And it wasn't really worth our trouble to do that. We could do it in other ways. We could feed ourselves in other ways. That taking it slower was a better method. It preserved our strength, allowed us to maybe be smarter about things, expend that energy when we really needed it. But apparently, it looks like in this study, they looked at 400 recorded instances from the early 1500s to the early 2000s, looking at the role of endurance running while hunting. And that included some first-hand accounts from nomadic groups in all parts of the world. Some of the groups revealed that hunters sometimes ran more than 62 miles in pursuit of one animal. So the team then used this mathematical modeling to look at all these different scenarios that could play out while a person was pursuing a creature during a hunt. They looked at the size of the prey, how quickly or slowly someone pursued an animal, whether they walked or ran, the distance that they had to cover. And according to those models, in the right context, faster-paced endurance pursuit can increase energy returns. That the caloric gains of endurance running are comparable to other hunting methods. So they were able to show that running or a mix of running or walking can be efficient, and that it was a global practice by foragers prior to the modern era. That endurance pursuits would have provided humans with an evolutionary advantage while competing with carnivores for game. So we're built to do it, I guess. I don't know. The sweat and the stamina helped us out. Speaking of old things that are interesting, look at this carving. Beautiful. Piece of art. Yes, also a family heirloom. And this precious family artwork of a leopard resting on a tree branch was carved by the uncle of a woman named Celia Bashaw of New York. Her uncle Charles Perkins carved it in 1980. The carving was beloved by her mother, and it was accidentally sold when her grandmother's house in Vermont was cleared out several years ago. So she's been looking for this thing. She said, I've been searching for it. I've been even dreaming of it. It was lost when her mother was still alive, so the mother was also looking for it. And she put up a Facebook post, and she made sure to go to Vermont groups and tag it. And she was hoping someone would recognize it. She said, I desperately wanted to keep this family heirloom carving in my family. It was shared hundreds of times, eventually catching the attention of Chris McKerrier and Phil Matei. And they sent her a message. They say, it's really funny that you posted this because we have one just like it. They live in Rutland, New York. They say they bought the artwork a few years ago at a moving sale in Vermont. And they were more than happy to reunite her with this carving. With all the bad news and everything going around, she said it's really good to see something really nice. She hopes to pass this artwork down to her daughter one day. She said, I wish I could tell my mom we found it. She'd be elated because they were looking for this forever. So a Facebook post ends up with this New York woman reunited with this precious piece of family artwork because people shared it all over Facebook. So with all the bad stuff about social media, that's kind of cool. That this wonderful thing in their family that was lost is found again. It's a cool carving. I like it. Okay, let's talk about this study. Babies born by C-section may need extra vaccines. Isn't this interesting? Yeah. So here's the study. The study, it was posted in Nature Microbiology. And it was done by a lecturer in genetics with the University of Cambridge in the UK. And the finding is that babies born by C-section are unlikely to receive protection from a single dose of measles vaccine. So they got to have a second one. A single measles jab 2.6 times more likely to be completely ineffective in C-section babies compared to those born the other way, vaginally. Their immune systems fail to produce antibodies to fight against the measles infection. Isn't that interesting? But if they have a second jab, it does induce robust immunity against measles. What they say is they've discovered that the way we are born, either by C-section or natural birth, has long-term consequences on our immunity to diseases as we grow up. Measles, of course, we know, highly infectious. Even low vaccine failure rates can significantly increase the risk of an outbreak. I don't know why it makes a difference which way we're born, but researchers say the failure rate among C-section babies are due to differences in their gut microbes. That vaginal delivery tends to transfer a greater variety of microbes from mother to baby, and that can protect the immune system. And with a C-section birth, children aren't exposed to the mother's microbiome in the same way as with the other kind of birth. And they think it means they take longer to catch up in developing their gut microbiome. And with that, the ability of the immune system to be primed by vaccines against diseases including measles. I had one baby the old-fashioned way and one baby via C-section. About 1 in 3 babies, 32%, born in the United States are delivered by C-section. That according to the March of Dimes. And if that's true, we've got an awful lot of babies that need a second measles vaccine to protect them. And maybe other vaccines as well. And I'm surprised we're just figuring this out now, especially when we have all these people that are anti-vaxxers and don't believe in vaxxing your babies, because they're all wandering around out there. And I thought my kid was protected. So now we got to go make sure, I guess. I don't know. The researchers say we know a lot of children don't end up having their second measles jab, dangerous for them as individuals for the wider population. That infants born by C-section are the ones we really want to be following up to make sure they get that second measles vaccine, because the first one is much more likely to fail. I mean, important information, right? The study researchers used data from more than 1,500 children in Hunan, China, and they took blood samples from them every few weeks from birth to age 12. I'm sure that was a pleasant study for kids. About 12% of kids born through C-section had no immune response to their first measles jab, compared to only 5% of children born the old-fashioned way. As a result, many C-section kids had no measles protection following their first vaccination. It's amazing to me how people don't go back for that second vaccine, because 2 doses are needed for the body to mount this long-lasting immune response. But around the world, only 83% of kids receive 1 dose by their first birthday. That's the lowest rate since 2008. And they blame this vaccine hesitancy. The measles disease is the one they're worried about because it's so infectious. So, I just thought that was an interesting study to pass on. Here's another one. Teen vaping rates are continuing to fall, and that's good. What I don't like is that teen rates are only slightly lower than adult rates for vaping. And if that doesn't tell you that vaping is a problem for teenagers, then I don't know what does. That just slightly fewer teens are vaping than adults. So the vaping rates among U.S. kids grade 9 through 12, high school age, fell to 5% in 2021. That's the latest year for which the data is available, 2021. It's down from a peak of 7.2% of teens who vaped in 2019. 5% vaping rate observed in 2021 is still more than double the 2% rate observed among teens in 2015. And it's only slightly less than the 6% of adults who vaped in 2022. So in 2022, we've got 6% of grown-ups vaping, and the previous year's data show 5% of teens vaping. Researchers are saying it doesn't bode well for the long-term health of teens, because almost 100% of e-cigarettes sold in the U.S. contain nicotine. The use of these products by teens, of course, could lead to addiction. It's not good. I saw this young, beautiful woman, must have been like late teens, early 20s, on Mother's Day, and she was sitting down on a curb and smoking a cigarette. And I thought to myself, it's Mother's Day, so maybe I could get away with going out, telling her and mothering her a little bit and telling her not to smoke that thing. And it's really funny because my mom then had to walk past her to get into the car, and she said, I really want to go out there and tell that girl to stop smoking. Like, I guess I really am your daughter. All right. It is Travel Tuesday, so let's lighten it up. Let's go to the beach. How about we go to Costa Rica, baby? Yeah, let's do it. It is Travel Tuesday. Costa Rica. It's such an amazing and beautiful place. And it has beautiful beaches. And I found on Travel and Leisure the 9 best beaches in Costa Rica, whether it's surfing, snorkeling, spotting wildlife, just hanging out on the sand. Let's take a look at the best beaches in Costa Rica. Will we ever go there? Possible. But let's travel there virtually together. Here's beach number 1. This is Playa Santa Teresa. It's pretty nice. It's the crown jewel of a small laid-back town of Santa Teresa, which is on Costa Rica's Nicoya Peninsula. It's called an off-the-beaten-path kind of gem by surfers and vacationers. Great waves. In the early evening, people gather on the sand to watch the sunset. There's a few beach hotels located here and restaurants as well, but overall, it's pretty, as they say, pretty chill. Good surfing, good sunsets. This again is Playa Santa Teresa. Beach number 2 is called Playa Conchal. Yes, please. Take me to Playa Conchal. I like it. Playa Conchal is on the Gold Coast in the north of Guanacaste. They call it one of the most versatile, photogenic beaches in Costa Rica. The golden sand mixes with tiny shells that seem to glisten alongside the turquoise tides. Love it. It's very good for people who aren't obsessed with surfing, because it's a really good spot for swimming, snorkeling with tropical fish, and stingrays. It's a good beach to have a picnic. Again, it's called Playa Conchal. How about this one? This is Playa Hermosa. Playa Hermosa. Let me click down. There you go. Ooh, that's a nice long beach. Beautiful. Playa Hermosa is a standout among the beautiful spots on the Gulf of Papagayo, which is also part of the Guanacaste province. It translates to beautiful beach in Espanol, dark sand, clear blue water. It was awarded a Blue Flag Award as a destination. It's great for swimming, snorkeling, and scuba diving. And they say the early morning sunrises and then the sunsets really wow people. Playa Hermosa. Looks pretty nice. How about this beach? This is Playa Garza. This looks like where you'd want to hang out all day. Does it look like maybe a restaurant back there where you can get a cocktail? I don't know. I'm thinking yes. Playa Garza is a crescent-shaped stretch of soft sand south of the popular yoga and surf town of Nosara. It also is on the Nicoya Peninsula. They say whether you want to spend the day admiring the local atmosphere, splash in the crystalline waters, or watch local fishermen in the bay, you can't go wrong here at Playa Garza. Beautiful views, and the sand does look really soft. This one looks a little more out of the way. It's called Playa Ostional. Playa Ostional. Here's a picture of it. Doesn't it look like it's a little more, I don't know, desolate almost in a way, I would say. They say some beaches are winners for the surfing and the swimming, and others are known for habitats filled with natural wonder. And that is Playa del Ostional on the Nicoya Peninsula. It's a paradise for wildlife lovers, a nesting ground for the olive ridley sea turtle. Green hatchlings make their way to the water at some points in the year, which is a really incredible sight. They do have some surfers out there sometimes as well. But it's really a place if you want to go watch wildlife and feel like you're out in nature observing, this is the spot for you. This is obviously a surf spot, Playa Manuel Antonio. Here it is. Pretty nice beach. Yeah, look at that. I like it. With the sand and the surfboards. Looks pretty good. This is an easy walk from Manuel Antonio National Park. It's the Patan Moss, advising travelers keep their eyes peeled for wildlife here. Adorable sloths and curious monkeys coming to this beach. Sloths and monkeys. They say when you walk up to this beach, it's unparalleled views of ivory sand, palm trees, endless natural beauty, and wildlife. And it looks like they surf too. Got some umbrellas out there. Looks really, really nice. This is beautiful. This almost looks like something out of a movie. Playa Bison. Check it out. Beautiful. Playa Bison is at the end of a trail that starts near Parador Resort and Spa, and you wind through the jungle, and then boom, you come out at Playa Bison in Manuel Antonio. It's not easy to reach this beach. You got to really want to get here. And you have to be sure-footed because apparently there's dense vegetation, there's hillsides, there's pebbly terrain. So it's not easy to get here. But once you get to what they call a tranquil secret beach, it has sun in the morning, shade for afternoon naps, and they say it's worth it if you can make your way out there. Again, it's called Playa Bison. So maybe they can drop me off by boat. What do you think? How about this one? So green and beautiful. Playa Tortuguero is what it's called. Playa Tortuguero. Look at that. It's gorgeous. This name alludes to the fact that it's a turtle watching beach. Playa Tortuguero, between seeing majestic creatures lay their eggs and scurry around, it's like they say stumbling into a wildlife documentary. That people that visit this little patch of paradise can look forward to sitting on the golden sand, cooling off in the crystal waters, and watching the turtles. I would say if you go somewhere like this, it's their beach, not yours. So you have to be careful of them and make sure you don't mess up their habitat, you know? But how beautiful is that? Here's this one. It's a 4-mile slice of coast in the Nozzara area called Playa Guiones. Yeah, Playa Guiones. I'm making sure I say it right. Playa Guiones. It's pretty nice. Playa Guiones is, they call the sand sugar fine. It's hardly ever crowded here. There's not a lot of tourists. You might see some surfers, some joggers, maybe even some people doing yoga down by the shore. It's a 4-mile slice of coast, again, in the Nozzara area. And they have some prime breaks, surf breaks out here. So that's pretty nice. So there you go. Those are the 9 best beaches in Costa Rica for surfing, for snorkeling, and for wildlife spotting. So that was a pretty nice little vacation we took. I think we have time, although I didn't load the pictures because I didn't think we would have time, to take a little trip to Italy as well, to check out some secret Italian lakes. I'm interested. Are you interested? Let's do it. One of them is called Tono. And this is beautiful because when you see the picture of Tono, you'll see that it's situated right near a medieval castle, one of 2 medieval towns. Let me go back because I want to show you the photos. I think that makes it worth it. It makes it worth traveling together on this little trip. So I'm going to show you the website. It's really, really beautiful. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. The lakes in Italy look different than the lakes here. I'm going to take down the picture. There you go. And there it is. Look at that. So you can see that this Lake Toronto is kind of connects this medieval castle. It's really, really beautiful. I think I would go. I have to say, that's a yes for me. I don't know how it feels to you. Lake Toronto is, it's the medieval castle de Tora, one of two medieval towns that sit on the shoreline of what is this artificially created lake in the wild countryside north of Rome. How picturesque and beautiful is that? The tourists have been coming in greater numbers to some lakes like this, but they still say Lake Toronto is one of the best kept secrets of Lazio, which is this region around Rome. Many people that head here have no idea that this lake, Toronto, is nearby. But it has views, it has a history, and say a welcome breath of fresh air. They didn't mean for this to be a vacation spot. Benito Mussolini, which was Italy's former dictator, of course, ordered the construction of this artificial lake in the 1930s, and its whole point was to supply water to nearby power plants. He never expected that it would turn into a weekend retreat for people who were looking to get out and hike and be near water and open spaces. The area has free roaming cows and sheep, so it really is kind of out in the countryside. And a deep forest that leads to the lake. And it's beautiful. In this lake, giant carp. And so there's a lot of fishing out here, a lot of fishing contests as well. The clifftop medieval Castel di Tora and the even more ancient Colle di Tora sit right on the shoreline. There's a tall peninsula jutting out into the lake, topped with an old monastery. The water is crystal clear. The pebble shores are dotted with beach facilities where you can rent dinghies, canoes, boats, or just sunbathe. So it's nice. They've got a restaurant called L'Angelato, and it's a stone cottage that looks over the lake. They serve fresh fish there. The next one is called Lake Scano, or Scano. I don't know how you pronounce it. Scanno, Lake Scano. And it's beautiful. And again, all of these are what they call secret lakes, right? So they're not very, I guess, well known to tourists, but the locals know. So here's a picture of Lake Scano. I think I would go here on vacation. I'm just saying. It's pretty beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous. Lake Scano, they say, is the most intriguing of all lakes. It's the pearl of eastern Italy's Abruzzo region. There's a lot of myths about this area. The lake is deep green and shaped like a heart. And so a lot of paranormal investigators go out here trying to find out what's going on with weird happenings that locals say go on all the time. This is surrounded by a mountain range. It's said this natural lake, named after the overhanging village above, has magical powers. The locals here believe the lake is alive, and they've reported things like shattering light bulbs, exploding TV screens, ceiling lamps dancing as if a small earthquake had just struck. They tell stories about sudden water level drops, divers' compasses going crazy, dead fish, long-lost World War II weapons floating to the surface. There's said to be a mysterious, unidentified object buried in the lake bed. So, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting and beautiful as well. They say there's a sense of mystery that hangs in the air around this place. The green color is caused by harmless algae in the water. Sunbathing permitted, windsurfing permitted. They have a Path of the Heart trail that circles the bank. It goes past a church said to be a site of miracles. They have shores of the beach kind of set aside for summer bathing, mountain bike trails. You can rent a rickshaw, a rowboat, a canoe. There's a playground, a camping area. There's an Airbnb. There's a place where horses roam free. Beautiful. Like it. The next one is so picturesque. It's called Lake Nemi. And Lake Nemi is just beyond the southwestern suburbs of Rome. And a lot of people go to Lake Nemi for Sunday lunches. They go to drink the wine. I would go to drink the wine at Lake Nemi. I don't know. Maybe it's not so safe to drink the wine at Lake Nemi. I'm kind of interested in Lake Paranormal over there. Yeah. I don't know. Lake Nemi looks pretty beautiful. Let me show you a picture of it. And I don't think I saved it right. No. Lake Nemi, I'll take this picture down, is another beautiful lake. It is sited among the Colli Albani Hills on the edge of Rome. It's a volcanic lake in origin. It sits in an extinct crater, and it's accessible by foot along an old route that winds down from a village on the slopes above that shares in the same name. And it's really, really beautiful with the old buildings and the reflection of the sky. I just have to show you this picture. Nemi is somewhere I would put on my bucket list, I would say. So here's what it looks like. Oh, I didn't come up last time because I called it Laka Nemi. Here's Lake Nemi. Look at that. How pretty. Yeah, I would definitely go. What do you think? Lake Nemi has a foot route that winds down from a village on the slopes. It has an old restyled farmhouse where they rent out bicycles. They have restaurants on the shore. Looks pretty fun. Looks pretty special. Beautiful. A lot of places to hike and walk there. And the old village. Again, that's an extinct volcanic crater that you're looking at there. There's another one, Italy's Piedmont region. It's called Lake Orta. And that was created by a melting alpine glacier. Picturesque villages, chapels, medieval towers along its banks. Even a monastery in this area. And here's one that looks a little more wild. This one is called Lake Trasimeno. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know. Lake Trasimeno. And it looks a little more, I don't know, kind of like wetlands maybe in the Bay Area would look. There it is, Lake Trasimeno. It's beautiful. This one is in the less touristy part of the Umbria region. It's a shallow lake formed by tectonic movements of the Earth's crust. Locals have holiday homes here, shops in the overhanging village of Castiglione. The banks are dotted with medieval hamlets and wooden bridges that cross over the water. They say it's great for bird watching and sunset drinks. They have places to rent out windsurfing and kite equipment here. There's a B&B, rural farm, restaurants. It's beautiful. Shallow little lake. So there you go. Some of the secret lakes of Italy. We've been to Costa Rica and Italy in one day. Don't you feel like we've done so much? I mean, we're go-getters. I have to say, we are so go-getters. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please click the like button on the way out. Thank you for spending time traveling with me on this Travel Tuesday. A great show ahead tomorrow as well. Looking forward to seeing you on the Nikki Maduro show at 10, Mark Thompson's show at 11, and then again back here a little after 1 o'clock for the After Party Live. Again, please find the PayPal link, because the show's crowdfunded, in the show description. A huge thank you to everyone who has contributed to this show. A couple came in after I had my daughter put this together, and that includes Scott Rittenberg, has contributed, and his name is not on the list. Yvonne as well. And then Wes kicking in another $5 again. So huge thank you to everyone who helps fund the show. And here is the new video. So again, we're going to change it a little bit. I hope you guys like it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the After Party Live. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.